Oh shit.
Oh, snap. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 20. We have made it 20 episodes deep, and 99% of people quit before that. Kyle, Trevor, how do you feel about this stat, man?
Pretty fucking good, I think. We did 20 episodes. I think I said about 6,000 F-bombs. Didn't get canceled. I don't know. Pretty
Not
fucking
yet.
good.
2025 might be the year of cancellation.
Yeah, hopefully they hear from us next week too and make it past 20. Do we have an idea for
Yeah,
next week yet?
we might stop. We might stop. We don't know. It depends on how this upcoming meet goes. We're about 9 weeks out now from nationals, so we'll see.
We're gonna wait till
Uh,
after that? Damn.
yeah, I mean, we have some cool things actually planned out. So, I mean, if they keep listening, we'll keep putting them out there. But guys, for you both, I wanted to run some stats for you just because I don't know if you guys know these numbers. But the podcast is a top 10 for guess how many people listen to this. This is their top 10 podcast.
Top 10? Well, there's
Mhm.
definitely probably your mom. So there's one.
She doesn't listen.
And then there's probably Rachel. So two. And then I'm gonna say maybe one other person likes it.
Honestly,
Does Gizmo have a Spotify account?
no, no, he uses SoundCloud. But guys, there
Oh,
is this stat is crazy, okay? 410 people were in their top 10 podcasts.
oh,
What?
holy! I was not gonna guess that, dude. I was gonna guess like I was gonna guess like 20.
Yeah, you guys
How
were thinking like
how
five.
many
Uh,
Spotify accounts does Aiden Dubins have?
Oh, yeah, that's probably what it is. Him and
Four.
Dale just listening. And then so it goes down. It goes so top five, 323 people, which is insane. I feel like that's really good. And for 101, no, 104 people, we are the top one podcast that they listen to. So there's some
damn,
crazy people out there to say the least.
that's awesome.
You guys are fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, guys, we appreciate it. So I just wanted to, because Kyle and Trevor didn't know those stats, and we actually everyone gets their Spotify Wrapped, but this is the first time getting one, as like an actual episode or like a platform, whatever it would be called, a show. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And then it showed all of the other things, which aren't as cool. But another weird one was that there's 15 different countries that had listened to the podcast, which is strange because it's mostly just Canadian stuff. And it's a very small percentage for all those countries, obviously. And I think, let me check if I can pull it up, but it's a ridiculous amount Canadian, of course. I think it's, let's see, Canada was the number one. Anyway, it's not telling me. It's probably like 90%. Anyway, guys, as you know, this is the or not the preview show. This is the recap for 2024. So we put the stories up, had a lot of like input from you guys. We're gonna go over about like 10 different awards and give them out. We'll start with the breakout lifter of the year. We'll start with the male side and then go to the female side. This is a very, very deep conversation. We've narrowed it down by a good amount. But in Canada, there is a lot of people really rising up. So, Kyle, Trevor, do you guys want to speak a little bit about who would be your candidates for that breakout lifter of the year?
You want to go, Kyle? Real
Yeah,
maybe.
I can start off and just like throw the names out there and we'll discuss. But a couple of them we have. We also have like people that voted and gave us some ideas and stuff. But we had Rich something. He kind of came out of nowhere and was like pretty competitive, really fast, hitting some huge numbers. We have Stanley Cletus from Quebec, who was up against Walter at Nationals. Both put up some huge totals. We have Mally, who just won Nationals this year at 66. We have Lonray, who put up a big PR total and won Nationals as well. And then we also have Lucas, and then Josiah, who's actually, I believe he's still a junior, maybe fresh out the juniors. He's a 93 who just put up like, I think the third best total in the weight class, like in the 93s in Canada. So yeah,
Mhm.
we've got lots of people for this category.
Yeah, Trevor, which of these names really stand out to you?
I think to me, I think probably mostly of Lucas. Not mostly of Lucas, but I would think he'd be my pick. I think if Rich didn't get pushed off that ladder or whatever happened there and he broke his spine and maybe Rich went to nationals and could have won or done well there, I might have been said Rich because I knew who Lucas was before he got good, but Rich like literally like actually came from nowhere and put up
Mhm.
like that 898 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, Rich went from like a 500 kilo total or something insane to like his what 900? I forget what he had ended up putting up, but a crazy total. So he definitely would have been top. I think he would have been my go-to even if he had gone to Nats and just placed like even off the podium. His rise has been insane. And even for some of the other people like Stanley, I think he blew up a lot, but his name has been around. Mally has been around for a while. He did win, and then same thing with Lanray. But I think it to me, it's probably going to have to be Lucas, just because Lucas was not in the conversation at all, and I don't think that many people really knew about Lucas until this year. Where like Mally and Lanray, at least from what I know, I mean, I know them a little more personally, I guess. So to me, they've always been around. But Lucas, he's been around as well, but he went up what 2 weight classes and then put up that massive total and was competitive at every single regional event. So for me, it's got to be Lucas. But Josiah's total was really cool as well. He's going to be big in 2025 for sure.
Yeah,
Eh,
I'm just looking now. So in 2023, looks like Lucas hit his first 800 kilo total, 815, and at the end of 24, he totaled 910 and a half, which was the national record that Bryce just beat after. And that national record was like 6 years old or something.
Yeah, yeah. So he went to the top of the weight class and broke the like multiple year national record. So for sure, it's got to be Lucas, and that's
Yeah.
nearly 100 kilos to the total in one year. I'm
Yeah.
like, and then we're not talking like 4 to 500 kilos or like 3 to 4. We're talking like 8 to 900 kilos. Like that's a hard 100 kilos to put on.
Yeah. He also picked up the squat gold at Worlds, which was pretty big. He also he placed fifth at his first Worlds.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then he just barely lost that tight battle to Bryce at National.
Yeah, to an absolute like legend in Canadian powerlifting. Like Bryce is being around and Lucas put that pressure on him.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely
think
got to
I'm
be
on the
Luke.
same page as you guys too. Like I was in the boat of like Rich literally came out of nowhere. Like I'd known Lucas before, and then Rich came out of absolutely nowhere. It's like he would have probably been breakout, but yeah, just because Lucas, it was also his first time going to Worlds, and he snagged a gold medal for squat, so that's pretty
Mhm.
sick too.
Yeah.
And he broke the national record at Nats too, and like added 100 kilos to his total. So I'd say that's definitely a breakout year.
Yeah, yeah, like all these other guys also it definitely was a big breakout, but say like Stanley, Lon Ray, and say Mally, like I already kind of knew about it. They were already like good established lifters.
Mhm.
Where Lucas really kind of went from I don't want to say zero, but he went from like kind of zero to hero in that one
Yeah.
year span.
Yeah, it was a crazy year for him. And honestly, too, like there's a lot of names there. Those are like the names that were sent in. I meant to cross some of them out. So like Matt, like you said, Mally Landry, like they're going to be discussed in different categories, but I think that they're not really a part of the breakout of the year, even though maybe they're listening to this. Like, yes, I am. I'm sorry. Like,
I think
like you
both of
guys
them. I
are.
was literally just looking because Londra's total that he won with was like it was almost a 40 kilo, like 35 kilos over his best. So it is
Mhm.
still pretty good. But yeah, the thing with breakout for him is he's also podiumed at nationals before and stuff. So it's not like a super breakout, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. And so I think we all agree. That's good that we've agreed even on the first one, but Lucas definitely deserves that. And on the female side, we had a longer list as well, but we've brought it down to these three, where we have Kayla Overchuck, who we had recently on the podcast. You guys know about her. And then Alexis Seaman, who is a 76 kilo lifter as well, but also in the junior, to be honest. And then Shannon Huff as well, who they're all really close. And I'd love to hear what you guys think and then I'll go after you. So maybe Trevor or Kyle just take it away and let us know your thoughts.
I think I'm gonna lean towards Kayla, just with she won Open Nats, she came second at Worlds. I think Alexis is in the same weight class, right? They are very close, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would have to just kind of lean towards Kayla for that. She's a little bit ahead of Alexis. She had the Worlds, the Open Nats. I think it's kind of hard not to give it to her, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Winning from the junior class, winning the open, it's like, yeah, it's hard to debate against that. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was just looking at like their progression too, because I feel like with Breakout, it's about like how like coming out of nowhere essentially, right? Um, so I did like I handled Alexis at like that band of barbells meet. She was super strong, and to be honest, I hadn't heard of her from before, but yeah, she put like so she was at 430 total in like early 2024. So she's put over 70 kilos on her total, which is
Oh,
Mm,
wild.
wow.
So now she's like over 500 in such a short span of time, which is like pretty insane. But yeah, I think Kayla winning like open nats and then also like had the potential to like win Junior Worlds or was pulling for it at least and performed really well at Junior Worlds. I think she kind of takes the cake with that.
yeah. Wow. I didn't realize that Alexis's total went up 70 kilos, you said?
Yeah, like and I'm
And
pretty
that's
sure it's from
within the year.
2024. Yeah,
Yeah, that's within the year. Like
yeah.
Lucas did the 100, but from 2023 to the end of 2024, which is still unreal. But yeah, 70 kilos during that year
Or
is
hold on, my phone was
amazing.
hiding something though, because so her and so she started competing in 2024 though, which is so wild. So yeah, kind of I messed it up because her first total was 447, so like around 450, but still, so that'd be like 55 kilos. So then her
Yeah.
next meet she hit 430, but like yeah, from there till like the end of 2024 has been a huge, huge increase.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy too, because they're both juniors and they're in the same weight class. So it is kind of a close one. But I guess when you do take into account like winning Open Nats and being at Worlds like the week before, like if you guys didn't listen in that last episode with Kayla, we talked about that. And it was, yeah, it was pretty unreal what she went through in that 1 week. And then Shannon also added 40 kilos to the total this year. So very big improvements for from those three.
Yep.
Yeah, Alexis will definitely be someone to look out for in 2025 because I don't did she did this nationals, right?
No.
Oh, she didn't. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
so
pretty sure
this
she's quite young. Like I think she has many years left in the juniors. She's an 84 though, as well. So she's one weight class up from
oh,
Kayla.
okay.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure she's got multiple years left in the juniors, so we could
Wow.
expect big things from her.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me I'm gonna have to go with Kayla just because from the junior like winning junior nationals is cool, going to worlds and almost winning is amazing, and then just going back and winning open is just that cherry on top. It's crazy stuff. So that's who I'm gonna go with. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think I would go with Kayla too.
Yeah, I'm the same there.
All right, cool. And yeah, guys, don't confuse this with the lifter of the year, which we will touch on later in the episode. This is just the breakout lifter, so biggest improvements in like the year's time frame. And then speaking of which, we also have the comeback lifter of the year. And so for this category, it would have more to do with like someone who either got injured or maybe took time off or like whatever, something happened, they weren't performing as well, and then all of a sudden they're back on top and they're killing it. And there is a few people for each gender like that we can consider. Um, I think I'm removing some quickly from this list so we don't have a crazy amount to talk about. But Trevor, do you want to take on the lead talking about the male lifters?
Sure. So I think for comeback lifter of the year, I think we all agree probably the three like highest chance would be Eric Willis in the 120 plus. I think 2022 and 2023 were really rough years for Eric, and he managed to get him back on top this year. And we have Bryce Krawchuk of the 120, who same kind of thing. I don't know if 2022 he was in rough shape, but I know last year his knees were really bad. Came back and was able to win nationals. And then we have Kafui, who I think just at the beginning of the year in Western's prep, he was his adductor he hurt.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, and then he managed to come back at Worlds. I think he even PR'd his squad at Worlds, didn't he? But he had to pull out of Westerns and everything.
Yeah, he didn't go to Westerns, and he had to watch Nick and Adam battle it out for his spot at Worlds.
Yeah. So those are kind of the three names that I saw on the list that popped up to me. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah, I agree with that. Kyle, do you have anyone that you think we should add to that
No, I feel
big
like
three?
yeah, I feel like those are the probably the three to focus on like that I would think of that come to mind.
Mhm. Yeah. And so, Trevor, you probably know a little bit more about Eric's situation in 2022, but was that when he had cut to 120? Or,
yeah, I think he was I think 2022 Nats he was a light super, and I think his knees exploded, his hip exploded. He went to Worlds, didn't place very well. And then I think at the next Nationals, 2023 Nationals, he came third at 120 with a total like 40 kilos under his best, maybe. And then 2023, he started his comeback. And then this year, 2024, he ended up getting the world spot. He beat me at Easterns and he PR'd his total, 953. Went to Worlds and NAPF this year, placed well at both. And then he came back again and won his 11th national title, 120
yeah.
plus against Jay. I think he totaled 965 and a half. But I think like Eric's low point was like he was totaling 830. Like he went from a 950 total to like low 800s to back to like a 950 something total.
Yeah, that's a big increase. And
Yeah,
I
it
would
was a
also say, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was gonna say it was a big drop and a big comeback.
Yeah. And then I would say Bryce too for me. I think those are the top two. But Caps obviously has a good storyline as well. But Bryce, he actually went to that to Westerns and then got beaten out and then or no, he actually won, but then got beaten out by Rich or got beaten out by Lucas. I'm all over the place, but got beaten out by Lucas, and so that one's a good one as well. And Kyle,
Yeah.
what do you think?
So
Yeah, I
sorry,
feel like
Bryce was actually he was pretty beat up too in 2023.
Mhm.
His total dropped like four. It wasn't as dramatic as Eric, but he got pretty injured and his knees were bad and his total dropped and he did come back. Sorry, I just wanted to add that.
yeah, I feel like all three of these are really good because like you think of Calf too is like he technically lost at like 2023 nationals to the same guys and then ended up putting up this big total and then he got hurt. So like and then he had to come back from getting hurt and then he beat them. So it was a pretty good comeback story. Um I think Bryce, yeah, like what Trevor was saying is I think he was pretty hurt for a while, like his hip and his knees and stuff like that. But then he did manage to go and beat Rich like at Westerns, but then lost his spot to Lucas, so he missed out on his world spot, and then kind of came back and got the spot back at Nationals. And then yeah, same thing for Eric. Like he was able to make a pretty big comeback, get healthy, and then PR his total like two times in a row. So I feel like all three of these guys have pretty good story for comeback.
Yeah, it's a tough one to be honest. Like I think you could argue for any of them. Uh, all right, why don't you guys give your individual picks?
I think I would go probably with Eric. I think not that it's a competition, but I think he probably had the lowest low.
Mhm.
And then they all came back and ended up kind of in the same spot where they all just won the recent national. So I would probably just say Eric myself.
Yeah, the only
Yeah,
real like I think Eric is cool because he came back and then hit like an all-time PR total like by quite a bit, which is good. Also with like some steep competition in nationals. But the only thing is he did go to like he got a spot for 2024 Worlds too. And then the only reason I'm thinking like Bryce is because he missed out on his spot to go to Worlds and then was able to come back and like get it back and then also PR his total after being hurt for a while.
yeah. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
same for Calf as well, right? Like he missed out on 2023 Worlds, and then they both earned their spot back for 2024.
Yeah. Or Bryce would have missed out on 2024 Worlds. Calf went to 2024 Worlds because of what ended up happening at Westerns. Like he still
Oh,
had a spot with the NAPF total.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think they all three of them lost at 2023.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, well, who is your number one then, Kyle?
I'm gonna say Bryce.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go with Bryce as well, just because I think surrounding Bryce's like competitions, there was obviously his production and like the YouTube like series that he puts out, and I think it really portrayed it in a good way. And then we also had like his public, beef, I guess you could call it, with the other people in his class. And so I feel like it's probably the best feeling. Like everyone kind of thinks you've fallen off, and then this one guy is just talking all this, and you just come back and you beat him, and then you get your spot back. So I'm gonna go with Bryce as well. But all of them had a really good story, and Calf's was crazy too because he came back from a recent injury, and like his was all in like the recent past as well.
So Bryce wins.
Hmm?
So Bryce wins.
Yeah, Bryce wins to me.
Damn, Eric's gonna be pissed.
Well, no, we can all have separate picks. There might be categories where all three of us pick
Oh
different.
yeah, no, yeah,
No one
Trevor, you
wins.
think Eric wins? Yeah, no one wins.
Just
It's just
Luke's
like,
pick.
yeah, it's mine. I think Lucas won the for the men's side the breakout lifter of the year, and I think we all agreed. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Eric, don't be pissed.
It'll be
Okay,
boring if we all pick the same person for everything.
yeah, it's good. I think it's good debate. Like, in no, I don't know. It's an opinion. We could all agree and be wrong. Like everyone listening
Yeah,
might be like, oh, like what are you
yeah.
guys talking about?
I think all
Uh,
three of those guys were like great comebacks. All of them. Like it could have been any of them.
mhm.
I think next year, if our three names aren't in comeback of the year, it might be fucking over, boys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 2025, 2026 need to be good.
Yeah, that should be
Well,
our goal, even though it's our podcast.
yeah, hopefully we can be in the conversation. Well, I mean, we'll go to our award after this actually. Okay, so comeback on the of the year for the women's side for me is a pretty clear runaway with Simone. We obviously had her on the podcast, and if you guys didn't listen, it was a good story where Simone had kind of felt like she lost her love for lifting, wasn't doing well, and she had already been kind of just like a Eric or Bryce or Calf, been at the top, won multiple things, been to Worlds, done well there, and then just kind of felt like it might be all over. She was really hurt. She came back and was able to win. She actually won equipped and raw or classic nationals this year. So I think Simone has to be the winner for me. But what do you guys think for comeback of the year on the women's side?
We didn't get a lot of help from the viewers on this one, to be honest. I don't feel like I know that much, but I do know Simone did come back from some stuff, so I would probably just say Simone.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
she's a clear runaway with this though, because like you said, she kind of like was also doing equip for a while, like wasn't really focusing on raw, and then I feel like kind of came out of nowhere and then beat someone that was also like a really good raw lifter, and now she's back. She's obviously like won national championships many times and stuff like that, competed at worlds, but I feel like this is like a really good comeback to raw lifting, and she got her spot back for raw worlds next year.
She PR total too, right? After like 3 years,
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and hit a record squat, I believe, as well.
Yeah, I would say it's her. I think people should let us know if there's somebody else, but
Yeah, if
I
we're
would
wrong,
say
let us
Simone.
know. I think her story is similar to like the Calf Bryce Eric story that we had on the other side, and we just don't have much to compare it to. Because most of on the women's side, most of the lifters in each class, like they were mostly just been around and been pretty healthy for the most part. And so, yeah, just let us know anything that we've missed. But yeah, Simone went through a lot, and that episode was a really good one too. So I recommend people check that one out. I think we should touch on the biggest losers of the year, which is our award, just for a little break. So yeah, how was your guys' year in lifting?
oh no.
I don't want to brag, guys, but I still put 20 kilos on my total.
I did
Uh,
not.
I
I think
did.
I probably win out of all three of us, the biggest loser.
Yeah, I don't know what you did, Luke. I can't remember what your numbers were, but
I have to go look now. But yeah, I had one good meet in March. Well, it wasn't that good, but it was okay.
didn't you just tie your total or no?
No, that was the PR total.
Oh,
And
was
then
it?
this nationals, I only PR'd my total.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I think me and Kyle kind of tied on like became second at the regional thingy and then third at Nats.
Yeah.
It
I'm
just
just
wasn't a good
comparing
year.
myself to my own total, but it's because obviously I've been chasing like the to get back on like the world team spot or whatever, and I just keep missing freaking lifts, so my totals got worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like my best meet as a 93, and I wasn't even a real 93. I was like 88 kilos. That's still my best total right now, which sucks
Oh,
because now I'm like,
from last Easterns, right?
yeah, 2023 Easterns. I guess it was near the end of the year, but yeah, that's still my best total. And then the following
Holy
two meets
fuck.
was the regional and the nationals where I was kind of where I missed some
And
lifts.
you're like 106 kilos now.
Pretty much.
Not looking good for the boys.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. We have something to prove maybe in 8 weeks. We'll see how it goes.
You just
It's
have
eight
to
weeks, right?
make lifts. That's honestly my biggest goal for next meet is just like 9 for 9. And like,
Yeah, me
Yep.
too.
yeah.
And then just keep doing that and you'll eventually do something good. How
You
it
know,
works.
before I met you guys, I always went 9 for 9. And I started hanging with you guys, started missing fucking lifts. I don't know.
Yeah. It's because we push you to do better.
Are
And
you
then you
sure?
just don't. It's your fault. Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't a good year for us. That's okay. We've already cried about it enough on the podcast. We're supposed to be podcasters, not just straight up complainers.
This is the reason why we're podcasting.
Okay, so this one is just like an award for the biggest upset. It could be like, for the most part, just like a battle that maybe we didn't have that person winning. Maybe on our prediction show, or just like the general consensus from people was that this person was going to win, and then they did not win. We have a few options here. So starting off, it actually goes back to Simone when Simone beat Aurelie at nationals because Aurelie had won. I don't know how many nationals in a row, but I know it was a few, and she was doing really well even at Worlds. So going in, it's like, hers to win, you could say. And then Simone ended up winning. Of course, Aurelie came in with the injury, so you'd keep that in mind. But I would say that's one of the votes, and I'd say it could still be considered one of the upsets. Someone also sent in, which I don't agree with this one, but it's the biggest upset was Walter winning the 105s, which I don't think was an upset. Maybe it's just my perspective, but I think he was on a good roll, so him winning wasn't really surprising. Then we have the Landray versus Blake situation, which a lot of people voted for. Landray beating Blake was the biggest upset of the year, which I could see because even with the Clean Strength media team, they didn't film anything with anyone except for Blake. And it really made it seem like it was Blake's show, especially also the way Blake was talking was like, no one can beat me. And like they need to have their best day to beat me. And then it happened. So that was a big one and a vocal one on social media. And then another big upset was Rich just getting really hurt and having to retire, which is not a battle, but it is very sad, and I'm upset about it. And then we have Kayla winning the Open 76s as a junior. So that was one of the other votes. And before we talk about these ones, is there any that come to your guys' mind for biggest upset?
Uh,
I think those are the big ones I think of. Like I think the big two for me is Simone beating Orly and then Lonray beating Blake. I feel like those are the two big ones of this like past nationals.
yeah. So the one for Rich, it wasn't Bryce beating Rich. It was Rich getting
I think
hurt.
it was someone like Rich and then Sad Face, so I assume they just meant like Rich. But
Oh.
yeah, and because I
That
think
could
going
also be
in,
an upset or no, because Bryce I was just gonna say that's not really an upset because Bryce won the Westerns battle.
So I
yeah,
think it like I don't know. Instagram is weird, and I could see how a lot of people might have thought Rich was going to win because his gym lists were so big. But I
yeah,
mean,
I don't think it's an
Bryce is
upset.
a vet. No, not
Yeah,
really.
yeah, it would have been an upset to be honest if Bryce had lost, especially because I think with how Bryce was like posting and talking about it was like this was his run, like his last run at that point. I could be wrong, but anyway, it was like Rich was the challenger, and so him losing isn't really an upset. But
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I still think it. I don't know actually. Why don't you guys go first? Because I'm not even sure what I want to say.
I feel like for me
Uh,
it has to be Landry beating Blake because I know we all knew that Landry had the potential, like we mentioned him on the preview show, but like realistically, like Blake had such a lead on his total, and like you said, like he was like talking like he was like so untouchable, which like realistically I thought he was too. So when and it's not like Blake had a bad day or anything, he just like missed that one lift, like didn't go his way, and Landry was like right there, consistent, like hit a big PR total, and so I feel like that was the biggest upset for me.
yeah, I
Mm,
think the only thing with Simone and Orly is that Orly was hurt.
yeah,
Like she was well down on her best. I think because Orly has totaled 408, I think. If Simone had came and beat that version of Orly, I probably would say Simone, but I think I have to lean towards Lomre and Blake as well.
yeah, yeah. Because there was the slight possibility, well, obviously a good chance that Simone could have won that, especially knowing that Aurelie was a bit compromised. We just didn't know how badly she was hurt. But
Yeah,
I
because
don't
at
know.
Worlds, I think she still did something pretty good, didn't she?
Yeah, she did
To-
395, and I think Simone beat her with 380 something.
yeah. Yeah, I think it was a pretty big surprise that Orly only totaled 350 or 360. I can't remember what it was, but
Yeah. Uh, so I do think you guys are probably onto the right track here with this one. But look, this is not supposed to sound disrespectful, but I knew that Landry's day was coming. So to me, it wasn't really a big upset. I don't know why. It's just like I
Yeah,
knew this
no,
was
but
gonna
like if you
happen.
look at the odds, like if you're a betting man,
Yeah. Oh, I
I
also
think
agree too. For the average person listening that doesn't know Landry, it's like he totals 700 and Blake totals 740. It's like,
yeah.
duh, Blake's about to spank him. So I do get it, but yeah, I don't know. Like to me, it wasn't like as big of a shock, but yeah, I think it definitely overall for the CPU's viewpoint, it like that probably has to the guy that was nominated like sixth or seventh, beating the guy who has like been the guy for a long time. Probably that one for sure. To be honest, for just overall, like there doesn't need to be a men and women's one, and just like that award, I think the biggest upset in general has to be yeah, Landry Blake in the 74s.
I think what makes it is mostly all the shit that Blake talked, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If that's the other thing too, like when I was talking about why I chose Bryce for comeback lifter of the year, it's like the production and the hype behind Bryce because he has like a good YouTube channel, a big following, and then he has like that enemy in Rich. So I think there's just way more talk behind that. So it made it like looking back on it, it's the biggest thing, and that's why Blake, when he said all that stuff, it really makes it seem like there's no shot he could lose. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a wrap. That was a good one. And I don't really think there's another one. No one even gave any other suggestions than this. So I think, if there is something, definitely DM the page and let us know. Same thing for all of these. If you think we're completely wrong, maybe we are, and we would love to hear. So just send us that message. And the other one was grind of the year. So this one's more obviously for fun. You wouldn't really want to grind out attempts, but uh, we have Big J, which is the problem here is that some people for whatever reason won't know Big J, but he's the big 120 plus lifter who competes against Trevor, and he's actually a masters lifter, competes open, and he has the record squat. And what is the record, Trevor?
His 380.5,
Yeah. So, and how much is that in pounds?
like 840.
Yeah. Okay. So he's insane, very strong guy. And what did he end up grinding out? He ended up grinding out three.
It it was that squat.
Oh, it
It
was
was like a
that?
yeah, it was like a 10-second squat. It was fucking
Oh,
crazy.
I thought it was a little less. I thought he had hit that before.
No, no, it was
Damn.
that one. Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was crazy because it came to like a dead stop almost, and he just like held it there fighting and then kept going. Like,
yeah. It looked like it was gonna fall right off his fucking back. It was nuts.
yeah, like by the time he made it to the top, he was in like an almost like French low bar position. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, that
his is
one,
like he needed that squat. He missed it. It was fucking
it was
over,
over.
right? Like it
Yeah,
was
very
over.
over. Yeah, that was a crazy one to watch. And he's also, I think someone said Jay at NAPF too. I don't think that one was a grind, but he messed up that walkout really bad. And it was like he almost fell over and then he just stood there and just like dunked it anyways. And it was
Yeah.
375. So very similar. So
Jay's
yeah,
deadlift at nationals was also pretty fucking crazy, but I
yeah, it
think the squats
stopped
was
as
hard to take
well.
it.
Yeah. He made that one look insane. I was watching it because I was handling you, and I was just like my jaw dropped. I was watching it from like behind the curtain. I was like, is he like did time freeze? Like what's going on?
It's fuck.
So it's
It
got to be
was
that
ugly
one.
too. Like, cause you were also on this list with 300, but yours was just like a nice hard squat. Jay's was like hideous. Like it was
Yeah,
awful.
yeah, exactly. It was. It was. That's why like the one me being on the list is nice, and it was a cool, good moment. But Jay's was like it wasn't even like a full on like proper looking squat. Like he lit like his back went, like his head was like twisted. He was turning purple. It was like a true all out grind, and we should post it actually on the page because, like I said, I just don't think enough people really some people know him, of course, but I mean, like the average listener is probably like fresh into the open or a junior, and they might not know who Big J is. But well, maybe post it because you said you have it on your phone, right?
Yeah, I sent it in our group chat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll upload it then for when we make a post recapping this. But yeah, it was a crazy one. That was the hardest squat I've ever seen in person. And then, oh, well, we also had my client Mark did a really crazy squat grind where like he stopped like twice, and it was also pretty wild. But Jay's like that's why like I can't I like my squat as well. It was like they're cool, but Jay's was just different. So I think that wins
I
for all
think
of us, right?
for Yeah, I think for girls too, just to have a girl one was Emily Zerlinden's deadlift for the 500 was fucking crazy.
When it got
It
over,
was
it
like
got
210.
yeah, it was 2-1 Reds, and then they overturned it, right?
Yeah, I think so. But it was same thing. It was like a 10-second deadlift. It was crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, I was watching that one from the stands, like from across, and yeah, it was a crazy long one.
Yeah, it
And
adds
that,
to it too that she needed that deadlift like to get that 500 total. That makes it even
Yeah,
more epic. She
yeah,
just had to
absolutely.
grind. Yeah. I
yeah,
think honorable
500.
mention too, shout out to Dale. To what's the
Holy
big one that
fuck.
he hit earlier this year? Was it like a 260 something squat or something where like he was just fighting that squat? I don't know if he had a nosebleed or something. One of those ones.
That's like, yeah, that's what someone said that, and I think Trevor said like that's Dale's every lift.
Yeah, like you could make a 10-minute video of Dale almost dying squatting. It's fucking great.
Yeah, yeah. Dale actually, you know what's crazy? Dale's another Masters lifter, so it's the Masters lifters that really know how to grind. They just want it bad enough.
Have you guys ever been in a Masters like warm-up room?
No,
They just all move fucking slow.
well, I guess I have, but yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy. Like you'll see somebody that I know they can squat 230 kilos. They're squatting like a red. I'm like, why does it look hard? It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
they're
I've
just
heard people say
different.
that. Like I've heard other coaches say too, like you're handling them or something and they're warming up and it's like their third last warm up and it looks like it's like RP9 already. They're like, "Oh shit." But it's just
Yeah,
how they
it's
live.
weird.
Yeah.
They lose all that fast twitch. It's just fucking grit,
Yep.
self-hatred, and
Yeah, I lied. I had been obviously in a warm-up room, but I remember the first time I was going to handle Dale, I was like, okay, Trevor, you used to always do it for him, right? Before I was coaching him. And I was like, how is he in the back room? You're like, no matter what, it looks good, Dale. Like
yep.
you just tell him. Yeah. But it was kind of like that. Like it's just he just had to like turn it on, get more fired up, and then it was fine. But yeah, everything's just pretty slow. hmm So I think now is a good time to go into the most competitive class discussion, which here I know maybe in the other awards and discussions we were people might be like, "Oh, you guys are wrong." Here we're going to definitely get some people upset because everyone feels like their class is the most competitive. So there's lots to I guess debate. Trevor or Kyle, why don't you guys take it away? Let's start with the women's side. And which class do you think would be the most competitive? Yeah, so go ahead, one of you.
Yeah, we were talking about this. I feel like there's multiple ways that you can look at like what is the most competitive class, like the spread of the totals in the top five, for example, can kind of show. But it's also like the people that are at the very top of the class, I think also matter, like how big their totals are, like in the grand scheme of things, like or if the totals are national records, like how close they are.
Mhm.
So I feel like there's a couple classes that stand out. I think for the women's, we were saying that there's like a really tight spread in that top group and the 76s where they were like really close together. We were also saying like the 84s. I think if Danielle Philibert would have been there like, against Jessica Bittner, that would have been a really cool battle, and that would have also made that like even more competitive. It's a stacked class already. But yeah, I feel like those were the big ones in the women's.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I think the to add what you were saying, Kyle, so the 69 class for the women is very, very tight. But the problem is Emily Zerlinden exists, and she out-totaled them from the
Yeah,
class below. So it's like they're so tight, but it's I have a hard time saying that that's the most competitive class when the class underneath them somebody out-totaled them. So I think
Yeah.
the women's are really tricky to be honest, because some classes it's like a huge runaway, like where those like top lifters are, and then some of the classes maybe the number one total isn't like that crazy, but there's four or five of them that are really tight.
yeah, yeah. Like in the 69s, it's like the top four places, like 470, 470, 470.5, 478.5, and then 490. So they're like it is like really close together, like that those top couple people. But yeah, just because Emily is a beast and totaled like 500 from the class below, it makes it hard to say.
Yeah. I think I don't know if you're not talking about only nationals. I think the 84, like if you have Danielle Philbert there and Rhea Stinn in the mix, that probably is the most competitive class in my opinion.
Mhm.
But I don't know, it's
Yeah.
really hard to say.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a tough one because, like you said, it's a debate. Like we're gonna be wrong in someone's eyes no matter what. But, like the 69s being so close in total and competitive in that regard, it's like yeah, they are the most competitive. Just depends on how you look at it. But yeah, if we're playing a what if kind of game, if Emily went up, then it wouldn't be competitive, right? Like Emily would, take that. Or even with the 76s, like or 84s, it depends on where Jess goes and who's healthy. But I guess we're talking about for 2024. So the most competitive class for 2024, I guess we have to keep in mind like the Easterns, Westerns, Centrals, and then Nationals, and that's really it. So I don't know. Does that change your guys' mind if we're talking about like people who have done Nationals or these regionals for like the best or most competitive class?
Yeah, I'm looking at like one way I'm considering too is I'm looking at the top total that won each class at nationals. And like the thing with the 76s is like Kayla and Rashina both like had a good chance of winning it, right? So they were both like really neck and neck versus a lot of the other classes, like there was kind of like a runaway favorite, right? Like Jessica like was pretty clear cut in like the 84s, and that's the other class I'm considering. And like a lot of the classes, there was someone that was like quite far ahead.
Hmm.
I think the 57s were pretty tight too, but the I think the only thing was that Nicola wasn't there, so if she is there, then it's not quite as tight. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
their totals are really close too, like in the top five.
yeah, the women's are hard because it's either like there's that killer at the top of the class or it's really tight. So it's I don't know, it's really tough to say. I don't know. I would say good job, ladies. Everybody's killing it. I'm not sure who I want to pick, but
So now you have to pick first.
oh God,
Me?
I don't
Oh,
know.
Trevor. Oh,
Not
Trevor.
Joe.
I'm just gonna go with the 84s. I think, even though Danielle wasn't there, I just think in that weight class, there's two girls that could podium at Worlds. Where I don't think there's another class like that. Maybe I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'd probably lean towards the 84s.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does depend if we're doing 2024 as a whole or like if we're really focusing on nationals.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I
because
would
like
agree with you. I think
Danielle,
2024 as a whole, like yeah, the 84 class is stacked.
yeah,
I
because
think so.
Danielle came third at Worlds, no? I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
yeah,
And then you have Jess there.
yeah,
And then if you could add in someone like Ray Stin who has a 500 something total.
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
agree with you there. I'd say 84s.
Yeah. Depends how you look at it. Like it's all subjective, but what do you think, Mr. Birmingham?
Mm, I think you guys are pretty right, but I'll just go 76s because I also think that they could arguably be that class too. And Yeah, I mean, I'm not like it's kind of like the Bryce and when we were talking about Bryce versus Calf versus like for the comeback of the year. I think it's just really whichever one sticks out to you. And I'd say probably 76 for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys gave your answers. We can move to the men's side and speak about that as well, where again, we'll probably get some people disagreeing, but why don't you guys start there? Trevor, which for you seems to be that class?
So let's go through the list. We have 120 plus, which I would say maybe if Trevor did a good job, could maybe be in
If
this
Trevor did a good
conversation,
job.
but Trevor sucks, so I'm gonna erase that from there. We have the 74, so they're another one where they're very, very tight, but the top totals aren't crazy. Like when our 74 goes to Worlds, they're not really a podium threat, I think, ever, are they? I
I
don't
think
know.
this
No.
year, may like potentially actually this year because like remember we were talking with Laundry and he said because Chell's going down, something where it's gonna be like it's like obviously Austin and then Funga and then the third place is like kind of up for grabs. So there's a couple people that are like in that territory, but maybe.
Okay, but like in general, like a 730 total isn't going to do
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
good at Worlds, is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So I don't know. Like they're very tight, but maybe the total's not that crazy. The 83s, if everybody's healthy and has their shit together, is really competitive. This year there was a little bit of shit there. So then we have what the 120s. The 120s are very competitive. The problem is that Walter and Stanley exist, and their totals are like
Yeah.
5 kilos less.
Yeah.
And then obviously the last class is the 105, which is where I think I would lean. We have Walter and Stanley that totaled 908 or whatever, 909. I think if you looked at Worlds pretty much every single year, that would get you on the podium or really friggin'
Yeah.
close.
Top five for sure.
And then you have Philippe with the 885, uh, the warm up. I can't remember his name right now, but the warm up he's on 885. Like there's 4 or 5 guys in that class that are like could podium at Worlds potentially. So I think it's kind of that's where I would lean.
Yeah.
yeah,
Kyle, do you want to speak first?
sure. I would probably hit the nail on the head. I would say like I feel like the 105 is just like those like Walter and Stanley both hitting 908. It was crazy. Like yeah, both like if we sent both of them to Worlds, like yeah, they could both potentially like fight for a spot on the podium. And then we also have Philippe and Chris who have both totaled 885. And if we're talking about like points, GL points, I know we hate those over here, but like all of them score super super high. Like they're within like the top, I don't know, top definitely top 10 in Canada, right? And then yeah, I think what Trevor said too, the 83s, there's a new guy this year, William, who totaled something really big that Jimmy kind of told us about beforehand. Like he totaled 780, so he's in the mix now. But yeah, those like
Yep.
four guys are all like 780 to 800, and it's just like a battle in there. So it's super competitive. Um,
Somebody needs to break through. If any of them are listening, somebody needs to do 820.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is like we were just talking about competitive, like we're talking about on the world level. It's like the 83s all of a sudden on the global scale are just going insane. Like
Yeah,
like before, like 800, like I think used to be like a really elite 83 total, but now it's like the top guys are like going 840, 850, 860, you know.
yeah. I would say in
Yeah.
2023 it was absolutely the 83s,
Yeah.
but I think this year they lost a few points. I think just like Adam's been going through stuff, but he actually just PR'd his total, didn't he? He's a fucking nutcase. But Nick was dead. I don't know. I would say the 105s.
Yeah. I agree. Like you could say the 120s are stacked for sure. There's a lot of good guys in the 120s, but then it's the same kind of thing that we were talking about on the women's side, where if the weight class below you beats you or is close to it, then it kind of makes it like, okay, yeah, it's competitive, but at the especially at the world level, yeah, it's not. So yeah, I think the 105s are the clear winner with the 83s too. Um, at this Worlds, like it was what 840 something that won. So unless yeah we start making strides, we need to do that, or else that class is not going to be one of the best in Canada for that much longer. And the 74s, same sort of thing. I think one of them needs to break away from that total because there's a lot of them that are very close to one another, but it's just, like you said, Trevor, it's at the world stage. It's not like we're going to place well for the 74s. So I think in the next few years, all of the weight classes will have more and more really good people because we're having those breakout stars every year. But yeah, I think for
Yeah.
now, it's got to be the 105s. Like, there's really no debating it because Walter even went to Worlds. And what did he total? I forget if you guys know on the top of your head, but he came fourth and he was pulling for third.
890 maybe,
Mhm.
895,
And
something like that.
then a few months later, they PR that by like, a good amount as well.
Yeah. I will say though, like this year, like 2024 Nats compared to 2023 is like night and day. Because
Yeah.
2023 there were only a couple classes that were tight, but 2024 every single class had at least three people that were like right up there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely getting better. Canada's good. Uh, okay, so let's move on to uh actually let's just do this one for fun. So we already know Canada's getting a lot better. And someone said, we asked what other awards should we give away. Someone said best Canadian podcast or best powerlifting, best Canadian podcast. So guys, who do you think? Who do you think it would be?
Canadian podcast?
Powerlifting podcast.
Best Canadian powerlifting podcast.
Well, there's all like
Hmm.
there's KOTL, but he's from fucking France, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's Team Penna, so he doesn't count. I don't know who
I
else is
think.
there. Isn't there one in Quebec, I think?
And well, it's not their award show, so I think we
Fuck,
win.
who knows? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I don't
Trevor's
know if
doing his
there is.
best to not vote for us.
Yeah,
Yeah, Trevor hates this podcast, by the
I
way,
don't
everyone.
know. I've got a picture of a guy on a fucking toilet in the background. There's no way this can be the best podcast.
Yeah, until we get some competition, we're the best. I think.
I guess,
I think
yeah.
whoever asked just was trying to compliment us, so thank you.
Damn, get wrecked everybody else, I guess. Took the
Get
piss.
wrecked, everybody else. Yeah, I
Getting
mean,
beaten
no one
ass is pretty
else.
bad.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a Quebec podcast. If there is, then maybe they are better. But I do know that we're the only people really talking about Canadian stuff, so I think we win by default, which we haven't won really anything this year, guys, so we'll take this, okay?
Fuck
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's go into speaking of like the podcast and the episodes. We have the title of best podcast, and we'll just read out the ones that you guys have voted for. There was a lot of the names that were thrown out and a lot of votes for the same people. So the list that we have is Lucas, Rich, Mally, Nick Manders, Walter, Blake, Lanray, and the prediction show with Jimmy. So I guess they like the insight that Jimmy brought. So those are some of the votes that you guys put in. And obviously, it's hard to pick a favorite for us, right? Like, I think we enjoy a lot of them. Is there any ones that stand out to you guys as like, this was a really good, either informative podcast or fun to film? Is there any ones that stick out to you?
I think for me, because I think it was like our third episode, the one we did with Rich was fun because it was in person.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like I didn't prep for it at all, but it went well because Rich was rich. I guess
Yeah.
I don't know. And then other than that, any of the ones where fucking Kyle didn't show up were pretty good.
Damn.
I'm just kidding. I just had to say that.
I'm not keeping track, but I feel like it's two that I haven't, or maybe more than that. Who knows?
You postponed like six though.
No, no.
Yeah,
Hey,
Luke
yeah.
postpones more than I do.
I've got it written
no,
down on
you
my
do.
phone.
Okay, wait. So he was there for Walter, there for Lucas. He postponed Calf.
I
He
think I was
wasn't
there
there
for
for
like all of them,
Rich.
except I wasn't there for Rich because I didn't go to Ottawa with you guys.
The Nick one was crazy though.
Oh yeah, the
Kyle.
Yeah.
That
Nick one
counted
was
as
the
like
last minute one.
three.
Yeah,
It wasn't
That
last
counts as
minute.
three.
The podcast was at 8 at
Well,
8:30.
no,
You said,
okay, hold
guys,
on,
I can't
guys.
make it.
For the
All right,
record, it
Nick,
was
get
because
over here.
Luke postponed that one.
What one?
That was the podcast we were supposed to do like the previous week, and then you postponed it randomly last minute, and it was fine. But then when I said, "Oh, I can't do it tonight," you guys were just like, "Oh, we're doing it anyways."
So we had to postpone Blake. We had to postpone calf for sure, from what I remember.
No, the Blake one we definitely did. That was my fault, but yeah.
And the
Blake
Okay,
was
calf
moving
sad.
on. Favorite podcast
calf
of the
way you had to
show.
mention.
Moving on.
Jesus,
I was gonna
Kyle.
say the Nationals predictions one was actually pretty cool. That was probably one of our biggest undertakings. Like we probably had to put the most work into that one, like doing research and stuff. And I think Jimmy
Yeah.
coming on.
That was fucked. We need to start getting paid for that. That was a lot of work.
Honestly, Jimmy was a huge help for that one. So shout out to
Yeah.
Jimmy because that was
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite episodes too. Just talking, it also got me like really like hyped and like excited for Nats. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's probably up there for me. Also, Walter, I think was our very first podcast, right? And that was in person, so that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah, that one was cool as well. Walter's was fun, and it was like, Walter, we trained with him a lot, so he was someone that we know pretty well. And yeah, it was pretty chill. I did really like the Rich one too, Trevor. Like that one was a lot of fun. We went to Rich's place and it was nice. It was like summertime and there was a cute bunny running around, so it was fun.
That's all.
And
All
then
the ones where we got to talk to somebody you never talked to are pretty cool too, because we've done a lot of those.
yeah, those are fun too, because like yeah, I mean going in, you let the person know what you guys will be speaking about, and then it's like, okay, let's see how it goes, Like sometimes it
Yeah.
could be awkward, but everyone's been really good and you guys that are listening have always said good things, or maybe you just pulled back on the bad things, I don't know.
Oh,
We
another one
try our
too.
best.
The Emily one was really good. That's the other one I was gonna say. The Emily one where she kind of went into like the like mental skills and stuff. I thought that was really cool. And also Luke wasn't there for that one, so that was great.
Yeah. The Emily one too. We almost have to do Emily again because after we stopped the podcast, we talked for like another 45 minutes about stuff.
Yeah, yeah, we just kept going. She was like just spitting gold like after we ended the recording
Yeah.
too.
I was like, fuck, we need to hit record now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
In
Oh,
saying
and then
that, Trevor, have you missed any of the podcast?
no, he's on.
Oh
Fucking
my God.
locked in, buddy. And I'm the so out of the
Get
three
an
of us,
award
I'm
for the
the only
most
one with a
consistent red
fucking
plates.
job. You guys are
What?
just coaches. I gotta go to work every day, and I'm the only one that doesn't
See,
miss
that's why
shit.
it's easy. You get your shit done 9 to 5, and then you can just show up.
No, 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 no. So listen to this. Kyle's schedule. Let's do it right now. When did so today we messaged podcast 8 p.m. When does Kyle answer? Like 1:30. And he doesn't even answer yes to the podcast. It was
Bro,
something
you
else.
think as like because I don't message the chat, I must be sleeping.
Yep. That's right.
Yep.
I don't message you guys. Good morning every morning. He's like, oh,
That's
Kyle's
right.
till 2 p.m.
That's right.
Yeah. Sometimes if you don't message that day, you didn't wake up.
It's true.
uh, so I was gonna say the Nationals one was really good. Like Kyle mentioned how much he liked it, and I did like it too. It was fun, and yeah, Jimmy did a really good job. So we'll have Jimmy on again, and we'll have other people on to do some previews. We'll do a preview show for this Nationals, I believe. So maybe we'll have Jimmy, maybe we'll have someone else. It's not as big of a Nationals, but they're always fun, and I think they create hype. Like Kyle said, he was hyped. I was hyped after it, and I'm sure the listeners were as well. So we can
Yeah, I
do
think
that.
sometimes it's hard to find all that stuff out. So like when you get it all together and like kind of listen to it, it makes you more aware of like everything that's happening, right?
Mm.
Makes everyone more excited.
Yeah, and like even for this one, right? Like it's just us doing this one, and we're probably missing some things, but we tried and we even left the question boxes open. So hopefully, we're like addressing everyone and the big things, and hopefully we didn't miss anything. But it happens. So next time we'll just get a professional like Jimmy on to help us.
Yep.
Good job, Jimmy.
But yeah, good job, Jimmy. We appreciate it. He was the first from Quebec. He wanted to make sure that we all knew. And also, I think the Lucas one was really fun too. Lucas was I think everyone always is very happy and excited to be on, and it's always a good time. But Lucas was just very joyful, and like if you pause it at any point, he's just smiling. So it was dope. I like that one. Okay, so we don't have to give an award. Actually, to be fair, we should give out the info on the most streamed guest, and that was Nick Manders. So congrats, Nick Manders. You talking about the Manosphere was the most popular, and it actually was really fun.
Manosphere.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit, just talking about like I don't know, just all like social media and just like the way that like people want to follow one another and like what they're looking for and only seeing winning and yeah, it was good.
Oh, okay.
So there's a few before we get into best lifter. We'll just go through a few of these really quick. Some of them might be a little bit redundant, but these are the questions or the awards you wanted us to give out to the listeners. So we got the biggest rising star for the junior class, and I think it's very easy for this one. Like for me, it's Kayla, but there's definitely other names, and so if there's anyone that you guys like comes to mind for a rising star in the juniors, like maybe shout them out.
Well, for a guy, it would be that
Josiah, I think.
93 kid. Yeah, whatever his name is. That kid probably,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, he did really good. I heard he was 21. So, and regardless, he's a junior. So, that's one of the best 93 totals. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle.
Yeah, he totaled 800, right? And I hadn't heard of him before, so yeah, he definitely because like Liam has also totaled 800, but then it's okay, hold on. So I think beginning of the podcast I said top three, but it's basically like it's been Quaku has the best total, then it was me, and then it was Alex, and then Liam has also totaled 800, but he's still right in there. Like
It's
800
a top five.
is
Yeah.
a huge total. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's the youngest by far. So, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So FYI, if you're a junior and you want to be mentioned on here, you gotta have a good open total. Basically, is what we're saying,
Pretty much. Or
right?
maybe like just dominating like those junior records or something. Like,
Yeah.
because we brought up a few other people as well. Uh, so the most dominant lifter of 2024, I mean, it's pretty much going to be. I think we should skip this one because it's kind of the same thing as best lifter, I believe. So maybe we'll skip that one for now. Um, what do we think is the biggest rivalry? There's obviously it's within weight classes, right? It kind of maybe it's not the best weight class, but the rivalry that seems to have like I don't know the biggest beef to it, if there is. You and
Well,
Eric,
it
Trevor?
had to be Rich and Bryce, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
It
that was
just
yeah,
or at
sucks
least
that
the
they
definitely.
most
only went
prevalent on
once,
social
though.
media. Huh?
What was it?
It just sucks that they only got to go once, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was going to be a really fun part of Nats that just happened in September. That would have been a really big part to see them go head to head again.
Yeah, and it was hilarious. Like leading up to nationals, I thought it was so good. It definitely helps build like hype and stuff too before the meet, like the stuff Rich was posting. I feel like
Yeah.
Yeah,
leading up to nationals, I feel like he wasn't posting as much either, but it could have been because he was like hurting stuff and was thinking he wasn't gonna do it. Obviously, yeah,
honestly, too, like it's not the sole reason. Obviously, we started the podcast, but I think Rich, like just starting drama and just talking and making it a little bit more than lifting, was like something where we are like, oh, there's stuff to report on, and and that's around the time that we started the podcast. So it just kind of made it more fun and easy to speak about random things instead of just like numbers. So it was a good time. But I guess it definitely has to be that biggest rivalry. Everyone else is pretty civil and respectful.
I feel like
Sometimes.
another good one though is also like Nick and Adam. Like they've been like pretty like close total wise for a while, and they've gone back and forth like quite a bit. I think they only actually technically competed together maybe three times now, right? Or
Yeah, Westerns 2023 and 2024.
yeah,
So the first time, I guess they tied, but Nick won twice, and then Adam beat him this time.
yeah.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think they have like the most history that I can think of. Because on the women's side, there's like, well, like Jess moved from 76 and now is at 84, so that shakes that up. And I can't think of a big rivalry for the 2024 on the women's side. I don't know if you guys can.
Yeah, this year's just kind of weird, like thinking of it just from the regionals and stuff. That not
Hmm.
everybody got to go multiple times or anything. I
Hmm.
don't know.
Okay, and what do you guys think was the best meet of the year?
In Canada, or
Yeah, in Canada.
I think like competitive wise was Nats. I didn't go to Westerns, but it sounded like it was pretty cool. So maybe it's Westerns. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what you're saying is everyone seemed to really, really, really enjoy Westerns, but Nats was cool. Yeah, it was a good time. I liked the venue, and yeah, it was competitive. So there's lots on the line there. Especially because now there's no ticket to Worlds until 2026 Nationals for the Open. So yeah, it was a big, big meet.
Yeah, I would
Kind of
probably say
fun.
Nats just because we got everyone together. and everyone had like the head-to-head battles we were all wanting, and I think it was yeah, I think the venue was actually really cool. I liked how like when you were because it was like a hockey arena, I guess, when you were up at the top, you could see like both stages, and you could even see in the warm-up room from the one vantage point. There's tons of seats.
Yeah, yeah, it was nice. You
The
could kind
only
of like
thing I
walk
wish is
away.
that they shut the lights off and had like the
Yeah.
stage lighting. Other than that, really.
I think the one thing is they had like because they had the entire like rink area essentially. They should have just moved the thing back so that they could have made the warm-up room bigger, right? I wouldn't say it was
Yeah,
too
yeah.
cramped or anything, but yeah.
It was close. When you
Yeah.
get the heavier weight classes in there,
Yeah.
a lot of farts and heavy breathing in one room.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And what do you guys think best? Well, I mean, it's kind of unfair. Best meet like on the global level would be Sheffield,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I also think
Yeah.
Worlds this year was really cool. Like 2024 Worlds to watch was like a really cool meet to watch.
I think I think Worlds is more competitive to be honest. What like this Sheffield wasn't that crazy, was it?
I
Like
think just as a
it was a
pure like
crazy
just
meet,
watching it
but
though, Sheffield is cool because you just sit down and like you watch like it's all like everyone that you watch is entertaining because they're all it's like the best of the best, you know? And you just
yeah,
watch it, it's like 3, 4 hours, whatever, versus Worlds is like a span of a week where you're kind of just watching it all week.
yeah, yeah. It's just weird because there's just less head to head. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know.
I liked like Sheffield, like watching Gustav win was pretty cool because he was one of those guys that was like always at the top for so long, never won, and then he finally
Yeah,
won at Sheffield. But then he won Worlds too.
Yeah. Okay. I think we can move into what people have probably been waiting for, the best lifters of 2024. It's not just going to be off of um, the dots or anything like that. Um, the coefficients, it's also going to be just like most dominant throughout the year because we had Easterns, Westerns, Centrals, and then we had Nationals, right? So we're taking all of those things into consideration, most like dominance, as well as obviously your coefficient score. So why don't we start with the males this time? And Kyle or Trevor, why don't you take us away?
do you want to go, Kyle? Or you want me to go?
Yeah, I can go through everyone. I think like obviously we have Walter who like we said like 908 crazy like competitive total like even on the global level. Walter like made like a big jump in his total like in 2024 like he won centrals. He went to Worlds, put up like another PR total and did really well and then won nationals. And yeah, I think he's like the big one for me. There's also yeah, Lucas was another big one too because he broke out of nowhere, hit the national record total, and then got like a gold medal for squat at Worlds at his first Worlds. I think he's another good candidate. Uh, I think Eric is also like another good one too. Same kind of things that we talked about. Like he came back, hit a big PR total, and also in a very competitive class, and clutched the win at nationals.
Yeah, I would say Lucas did very good, but again, like the weight class thing, the problem is that Walter exists,
Yeah,
and their totals are very close, obviously. I would add that Kweku is definitely in there. He won the regionals, placed well at Worlds, won nationals. I don't know about GL and stuff, but I imagine it's pretty good.
yeah. One thing
Eric,
too though is if we do have Lucas in there, we would have to have Bryce in there, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
I think
oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're right.
just in our list here.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
then Calf as well was someone who was nominated. And Calf did a good job. He, like we talked about though earlier, he was out from Westerns and at Worlds. I don't think he had a great showing, so I think that kind of brings down his overall performance for the year. But obviously, he still ended off being the best 83 for the year.
yeah. I think for me, to be honest, it's probably between Walter and Kweku. So for Eric, for example, he won Nats. He did pretty good at Worlds, won regionals. He didn't break the total world or the total national record even once. I think Kwaku did twice. He put 20 or 25 on it, Kyle.
Yeah, I think he's a good one too because like he went from 8:15 and then did like 8:30 and then did 8:42. So he's been PRing his total. He's pretty consistent.
Yeah, and
Um,
then Walter, same thing, put probably about the same on, but then Walter had that high placing at Worlds
yeah, that's the
from
only
the
thing
year
I
before.
consider is like on the global level, like the 105's totals are just like way up there compared to where our 93s are at in Canada right now.
Yeah, yeah. If Kwaku totaled like 865 or something, I think him and Walter would be neck and
It'd have
neck.
to be
But
even more just because the 93s are so crazy on the global level. It's like there's like five of them that are going to total 900, right? Because the thing with
okay,
the
yeah,
the thing with the 105s is like it's Ashton and Anatoly, and then that third spot is like really like Walter can definitely get there or even push like for higher. But for like us, like for Kwaku to do well at Worlds, like is he's gonna have to total like close to 900 or more, right?
yeah.
Yeah, but that's considering next year though. Like, because right now, no 93 has hit 900 at
Well,
Worlds.
Gavin hit
Like,
901, and there's like three or four of them that hit like 895.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think his yeah, placing wise, like Walter's there. Walter's there. Like he did go for the pull to be on the podium, and obviously Kwaku wouldn't be able to pull onto the podium with them totaling like 880, 890.
Yeah. I will say, I don't really think he maybe is the best lifter, but Jay did 4 meets. I think he broke the national total record 3 times. I think
Yeah.
totaled 975. I think he put 15 kilos on it. He broke the Masters world record total, one NAPF. I don't know. I'd say Jay had a fuck of a year too.
Yeah,
Was that a
actually,
provincials? I swear he had a crazy provincial meet, right?
Yeah, he broke the national record at Centrals, and then he broke it again at Provincials, and then he set the world record at NAPF, but it was lower than his national record. And then he totaled 965 again or whatever at nationals.
Okay.
So he had
Yeah,
three
it's the
three
same
times.
situation with like Lucas and Bryce too. It's like we can't say Jay because then Eric.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's like an honorable mention, kind of.
yeah.
I guess.
Okay.
Like I don't really think Jay was the best lifter of the year, but it's just kind of like a shout out.
Yeah.
yeah, Jay is crazy, and like I was mentioning before, I don't know how many people listening would know him. If you know him, like you're like, okay, yeah, that's that big guy. But if you don't, he's just an absolute unit, and you can't follow him on Instagram because he doesn't have one. But you can search him on Open Powerlifting, and his Open Powerlifting is probably crazy. I haven't had a look, but didn't you say when did you say his first meet was, Trevor?
It's like 2003 or something.
Yeah, so he's actually been around. It would be cool to get him on the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think,
Uh
Luke? You haven't said much.
yeah, I would say it's got to be Walter, but I'd say Kwaku is a close second. It's just that no matter what for this year, because Kwaku's world's total was really good and he did PR every single time. Even with the missed pull, he probably would have been, I don't know, I'd have to look at it, but like it would be not over 850, I don't think. So he wasn't really close enough to the podium, and Walter was pulling for the podium, and he was decently close. So I think it's got to be Walter, but Kwaku's a decently close second. And then I don't know. Like Lucas was our breakout star, I believe, or at least in that conversation. I don't know if he's best lifter yet, but he's well on the way. And yeah, Eric's done a lot too this year, but I think Walter's just won and been battle tested against literally like he is the best lifter by like the formulas and tested by like in his weight class, the second best lifter with the same total and just put yeah into these really big battles and always came out on top. So I think it's got to be Walter for this year.
And I think last year, Chris would have been the best lifter, right, on Formula,
Yeah, so he came back and beat Chris, which is
by
the
but by
warm up
quite a
on
bit. Like
Instagram.
he put 23 kilos on that total,
Hmm.
or
Yeah,
25 or
so
whatever.
I think it's for sure got to be him, but Kwaku did a really good job, and yeah, I mean, shout out to him for that. But Walter just had too much of a good year.
Yeah, like I have to say Walter too. I feel like he's like a clear cut like victory for me, like just because he had a great year overall, and like if we are like talking about points too, like he's now like the best pound for pound in Canada, like overall based on points.
I
Um,
think on all the formulas too, right? Like,
Probably.
like I don't think it matters which one.
Probably, I don't know, but
You
yeah,
know.
he's like damn near 550 dots, and like he's the highest on GL points. So yeah, I think definitely Walter, and yeah,
All
Yep.
right. So yeah, it's got to be Walter then. So let's move on to the women's side, where there is also probably a good debate to be had. The only thing is, it's just like I think at the top end for me, it's gonna have to be Brittany, but just like how Walter just edges everyone else out. But there's also Kayla, who we spoke about. Kayla Overchuk came second at Junior Worlds, won nationals a week later, so she's obviously in that conversation. Rhea Stin has been great for a very long time and had a really good year as well.
I
And I
think
believe,
it was
well,
her fifth consecutive world title, I think.
yeah. And what
Oh,
is she benched? She benched
oh
501,
fuck. 505 or something.
505. Yeah.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
yeah, that's unreal. So definitely have to mention Rhea. And yeah, she just did equipped worlds. So
Yep.
yeah, so Rhea's in that conversation. And then Catherine Gagne and Emily Zerlinden, like really all amazing lifters for that top five. And I'm sure there's many others that we could throw into that hat too. Based upon those lifters and knowing what you guys know about them, who would you rank or who would be your number one?
I think it's hard not to give it to Brittany, to be honest.
Yeah.
She totaled 710, I think, which is the second biggest female total ever all time, period. I mean, I think it's kind of hard not to give it to her. And I think on points
Yeah.
she's number one too.
Yeah, by
Se-
points.
Second at Worlds.
And and it depends on the formula too, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't favor her weight class, right? Like the formulas and she's still the best.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think GL actually kind of does lean towards the heavier weight class women, but I don't think it would matter anyways.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like Brittany is a cut above a little bit. I don't like Sunita did win best overall like lifter at Worlds this year too, so maybe the formula does like favor them a bit. But like yeah, Brittany's just so good. She's our only Canadian athlete going to Sheffield, so that says something too.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, see Catherine Gagne we have on here too. She's up there. She put 25-ish kilos on the 52 total, out totaled the class above. And like 25 kilos on a like a 445 total is a lot percentage wise.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's a
massive
big jump.
percentage
And I
wise.
think she's up there for points as well, dots or GL, whatever you want to use. I think she's right up there too.
Yeah, it's more I'd say it's Brittany going to Sheffield obviously is that, puts her on that other like level, but with the women's side, there's actually a lot more good debates to be had. Like I think Catherine and Emily both out totaling the weight classes above them is just, that's that's very not normal behavior. And on the men's side, it's like we just had Walter and then Kwaku's obviously a great lifter, but it's pretty clear, I think. But the women's side coming for that second position, I don't know who I would even pick. Like, do you guys know? I think we all agree Brittany would be the best lifter. It's hard to argue
Yeah.
against that, but who would be
Someone,
your?
I don't know if nobody voted for her, but probably Danielle Philibert should be on here too.
Mhm.
I think she came third at Worlds. I want to say she benched a world record or something too.
I think she did. Yeah,
So she should definitely
yeah.
be in there.
I Yeah. No, she definitely should be. She definitely should get a big shout out too, because benching a world record is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
can't
think
imagine.
Lee as well came third at Worlds, but
Yeah.
then obviously she got hurt and got to
yeah,
be out
because
of
so
it.
Danielle and Orly are both going to World Games in 2025, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Our girls kick ass, to be honest. Our girls always seem to place better than the boys at Worlds, but I
yep.
think Brittany is just that cut above.
Yeah, I think Brittany then Catherine also did really well this year. She squatted national record too, put a lot on her total, out totaled the class above. And then I think Emily as well, hitting the 500 is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they all did really well at nationals too. They did well at every meet. Where like Danielle and Aurelie were injured and yeah, couldn't put up their best totals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think Brittany's the clear winner here, and same with Walter. But yeah, Canada has a lot of very good lifters, and obviously everyone is welcome to give even more input. Um, argue for your person. But yeah, I think Brittany is just too far ahead.
I agree. And everybody make sure you send your complaints to Luke Birmingham or
No,
Red Lake
actually,
Podcast account.
send it to my manager Paige.
Oh, don't do that to her.
No, just kidding. I was gonna say you, but then I was like, that's not funny because you just said it was me. Uh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, that was pretty much it, guys. But is there anything else you think we should speak on? Someone said most consistent lifter, and who do you guys know who you would nominate for that one?
I think Trevor,
uh,
you're saying Jay, right? Like Jay barely misses lifts. Like at nationals, like both of his thirds were crazy grinders, but he just refused to miss. Just had
yeah, I think when we talked about it before, I looked, and in the four meets, I think he missed two lifts, and his total was always like 955 plus.
let's see if I can
I
find
don't
this.
know. We didn't look into it that much, but I say Lucas
No.
is also very consistent. Quaku's consistent. Us three are not consistent.
Yeah, I guess least consistent. We're in that topic. We're in that debate. I'd say, yeah, I'd say I'm up there. What about you guys?
With what, sorry?
Least consistent.
Oh, fuck. I only missed three lifts this year, I think.
Oh
How
wow,
many did
you
you
did
guys
much.
miss?
I think me and Kyle at this. Well, I went 8 for 9 at Easterns, but then I did poo. I missed a bench and two deadlifts, so I guess six.
Yeah.
Probably me, but I feel like it's also a bad reflection because so I went 9 for 9 in 2023.
No coping.
2024, I'm definitely most inconsistent. Well, like
How
it
many
is
times have you guys gone 9 for 9?
Bad.
I don't know.
Never?
I think a couple. I think
Twice.
maybe it's yeah, two or three.
Two or
I
three?
I've done it once at my first meet. That was the highlight of my lifting career so
Remember, it
far.
doesn't count going 9 for 9 when you total 600 as a.
But everything was a PR, and I didn't even total 600. I doubt it anyway. I don't really know what I did. But yeah,
I
that was
gotta
my
count.
highlight. So,
No, I just mean
Okay.
for Trevor, like, because now he's totaling 900 plus. Like, it doesn't count if you get 9 if you
oh,
total 600 something.
yeah. It has to be big ones.
I've done a lot, actually. I've done like probably
Okay,
six.
but what about in your past 5 meets though?
Oh, past five that I tried at. Uh, fuck, maybe two.
Okay, this is not horrible.
Yeah. But I was going to say, too, is like the only reason I've been inconsistent is because I've been obviously chasing Kwaku. We were just talking about how Kwaku's so consistent, is like beat his total every time. And obviously, that's the total I'm trying to beat. So that's part of why I've been missing all these
Yeah.
lifts. But obviously, that's a big part of Trevor's like reason, too, is like he's whatever he's loading, he's trying to pull for the win. And then that's what happens when you push.
hmm
I think when I dropped my, I want to say when I dropped my deadlift at Easterns was like one of the first meets in a very long time that I peaked and missed a lift.
Damn.
I
And then
I
you
think.
started hanging with us more, and
Yeah, and then I missed the squat and the deadlift.
Well, no,
I
it's
have,
because you've been in like ever since then, you've been in like tight battles. Like that's why. That's what happens when you're like in like
yeah.
right? Because it
So
was Easterns is
before,
like you and Eric were neck and neck, and then Nats was the same thing. You had
yeah,
Eric and Jay, so you had to reach to make sure you're still staying in the
the
race.
this the squat that I missed at nationals was the second squat I've ever missed, and the first one since like 2018.
Damn. Yeah, I don't know if I have missed squat.
That last snatch you did, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I missed many last nights. What am I talking about?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you
I
go.
got one spot at 2023 Nationals.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, what?
Well, like I didn't fail it. I mean, I guess I missed it on depth, but that's yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
usually the
Well,
deadlifts that get me. My fucking fat hands explode.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, our New Year's resolution is just gonna be no more terrible meats, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, time to lock in.
And how many steps did you guys get today?
Let me look.
Oh yeah, that was our other category, most locked in lifter.
Oh yeah.
I got 10,352 today so
Oh,
far.
okay. That's good.
All
So
right, eight
far, going
thousand.
to bed right after this, you liar.
Me?
Did you guys track?
I gotta eat more.
You track your food though?
Yeah,
No. No, you
yeah, it's
didn't.
loading right now. I'm at 494 carbs, 103 fat, 242 protein, which is 3,845 calories.
Oh, that's not a lot of food you need to eat.
Yeah, I need
Trevor, I
another
have a
meal.
theory. I have a theory about Luke
He
Oh
being
makes
most
God,
his
let's
locked
hear
in
it.
lifter. I think he photoshops his steps and his
his
food
steps 100% are bullshit.
count.
I know
Photo.
they are
What?
100%.
They're
You
too
told me
good, bro.
like
You're not walking 13,000 steps every day.
you were trying to explain to me how
What?
long you're on the treadmill and then telling me how many steps it was, and I know you're lying
I
because
was
I do
on
the
the
same
treadmill
fucking
because I was
thing.
gonna say,
Yeah.
you know why I initially thought that because I know you hate the winter, I know you hate the cold, and as soon as it gets cold out, all of a sudden your steps are like 15,000. I'm like, what is happening? I was like, he's not
No,
going.
I'll go back and show you guys. My average sleep for the year is like 8 hours, 40 minutes. My average
Please.
steps is 9,800. And it's only bad because of last January. I don't know if what happened to me, but I got like 3,000 steps for the month of January.
Oh my
But
god.
but then
Well, the
everything
other
else
day
was
you said you accidentally were on the treadmill too long and you had 24,000 steps. I'm like, 1,000
no,
steps
no,
is
not
like
24.
10 minutes on the
Oh, you know what
treadmill.
he's doing, Trevor? He's attaching his phone to Gizmo, and
I
Gizmo's running
know.
the
That's exactly
treadmill.
what he's doing.
Yeah, maybe. But no, it's not hard, guys. Like when you just go on the treadmill for like an
Who would you guys
hour,
guess
like
though,
once
outside
or
of us three, is like the most locked in Canada?
Well, fuck, we're not.
uh,
What do you mean
yeah.
besides us three? Locked
Well, we
in?
were
Well,
just talking
Fuck.
about us three. I just mean outside of us.
Probably I want to say Adam Jansen. I don't know.
what does
Probably
locked
hanging
in
with
mean?
anybody else.
Just like kind of like you hang out with Adam?
No, I said I don't really hang out with
Someone was
anybody
yeah,
but you
someone
guys.
told me. I think it was it Mally that was talking about. That's how Adam is like really like that. He's like locked in all the time. We're training.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I just like so locked in like eating, sleeping, steps, hydration, like all that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say not Eric. 100% it's not Eric.
Not Eric, no.
Other than that, I
No.
don't know.
You know what's funny is like we're just talking about like Walter's like best lifter, but I don't feel like he's that locked in either. Obviously, he trains super hard and stuff like that, but he's like super flexible. Like he'll train on different days. Like I don't think he really cares that much what he eats and stuff. His sleep
Yeah.
is like he's a shift worker too, so like he'll sleep whenever.
He's just
Yeah.
a fucking athlete. He's a machine.
Yep.
He just doesn't care.
Yeah, he actually doesn't care. But obviously he does, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I'd say probably I guess Adam's probably someone who would be like that. I'm sure Mally, like just like based upon some people don't really talk,
It's hard to
like
know.
they
Yeah,
would
it's hard to
be.
know what
Yeah.
people are like. Yeah.
It's just like I know that Adam would puts it out there and just makes it seem like it, I guess, just from the way that he posts and knowing him a bit. But then Mally too is pretty vocal
I
about
feel like
being
cutting down to 66, he would have had to be pretty locked in and crazy.
yeah. And then I'm sure there's many others that just don't talk about how locked in they are, but they are locked in.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. This was episode 20. We did it, guys. So now we can retire. And that's pretty much it. So let us know what you guys want to see from us in 2025. We're gonna keep it up. And honestly, next weekend we're supposed to be going to the area that we need to be in to look at these shirts. So let us know if you're interested. People actually were very interested, like DM'd me about like when's the shirt coming, the Red Plates podcast shirt. So
Wait
look
till they
into it
hear that
this
they're
weekend.
$60.
Oh no, they're not 60.
Boys got to eat. All right.
90.
fucking hungry over here.
And they're only coming in bright orange.
Fuck.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. End off the podcast here. Thank you for listening. Au revoir.
Oh,